My name is Roberto Wakerell-Cruz from the Post Millennial, and welcome to the new studio here in outer space. We are on the Apollo 17, cruising on a meteorite that looks like a cow. And I'm here to tell you about some problems on Earth, specifically Canada. Here in Montreal, Toronto, and it's a lot in Alberta for some reason seems to have a real problem with public art is what I'm going to be yelling about today. And specifically art that is funded by taxpayer dollars that is horrible, meaningless, just a bunch of shapes that don't mean anything and they're costing you a bunch of money there on Earth. So let's go back to Earth. Boom, we're in Italy, baby.
Gabba gabba goo.
The first example that we're going to look at today is an example called the traveling light. And if you're from the Calgary area, you may be familiar with this disaster. It is a hula hoop that has a couple street lights on the top of it. And boy, do I gotta say, is that thing ugly or what? I mean, geez Louise. And if you were to tell me that it cost $470,000, well, I'm not quite sure how to feel about that. I feel like there's probably better use towards that money, like giving indigenous people water. Number 2. We're in Montreal, baby. This is the city that I reside in. And I gotta say, a lot of our public art is pretty cool. There's a lot of great murals if you're walking through the city. And, you can see these everywhere. But actually, this one, though, is one that's a little bit upsetting. Skadink! We're at the bridge, specifically the bridge to nowhere. And this is a nice bridge in the downtown core. And it costs me $800,000. Not just me alone, but this is a bridge that starts on one side of the street and ends in the same park there. And if you saw that, that's more money than I'll ever see in my lifetime, especially at this job. Number 3. We are going out west to beautiful British Columbia, a lovely place with horrible taste. Apparently, if you take a look at this bad boy, this is a chandelier. Where is it? It's under a bridge, an overpass, and this pretty one, costs about $4.8 million. It is a overpass where people, probably homeless people, not your run-of-the-mill Joe Schmo, are probably sleeping, looking up and going, I'm starving. These are not the kind of art displays. And if you actually look up the guy that made it, here's his face. He's a nerd. He's been doing art for like 16 years around the city, and he's putting up $5 million chandeliers. Why couldn't you just buy everyone a sandwich at the city or something? I don't know. I feel like there's much better use of money there, especially, feeding the homeless. Vancouver has an opioid addiction problem. Please stop spending money on this stupid art. Number 4, the Beaufort Towers. Now, this one, it's okay. It looks like a bit of scaffolding. It's some poles. And this one is actually, again, in Calgary. Now, Calgary, for whatever reason, has a ton of art. But this one, it doesn't look too egregious at first, but then you realize that the Blackfoot tribe in the area believes that it is mocking their traditional barrier scaffolds, which, how many, this is a Google search of work to find out, hey, is this, gonna mesh with the area, maybe make sure that I'm not stomping on someone's culture and tradition? Usually people are pretty considerate of those kind of things. But apparently in this situation, not so. And I mean, I was trying to talk it up a little bit earlier, but if you actually look at these things, they don't look that great. I mean, they also cost the city about $500,000. So that's another big old price tag to add on the public art bill. Before we get to number 1, the winner, we're actually going to play a little guessing game and utilize this beautiful green screen behind me where we're going to zoom around the globe and guess where in Canada we're gonna land. Are we going up to Iqaluit with a bit of art? No, not a lot of public art up there. That's fine. Whitehorse, same deal. Toronto, haven't been there yet. We're going out east. Halifax? No, we're going back to Wild Rose Country. Alberta bound, going back to oil country. I love Alberta. We're going to Edmonton this time. Home of the Oilers, home of oil, and home of this garbage can. Look at this piece of art. This is more like a public fart, in my opinion. This is gonna cost the Edmonton taxpayers. It is now completed. A nice round $1 million. Ka-ching! And you gotta really consider with this one. Think about the rising unemployment rates in Alberta year after year after year, and look at what we're spending all of our resources on, man. I don't really understand what this is. It looks like a bunch of giant trash bins, old train yard things, and they're all stacked and they're textured. This one was made by Thorsten Goldberg. He's German. Again, I don't know, these German art collectives coming over here and making art. I mean, they're fine, I guess. But and they're made in Canada, but there's plenty of Canadian artists you could have thrown in there and gotten in the ring. This is the type of stuff that drives me mad. Look, public art is good in different cities. You can take a look at, boom, Montreal again. Tons of good public art. But also, why are we straying away from traditional art? You know, some of these beautiful sculptures and buildings that look like something that was carved out of stone and rock and took 1,000 hours to build, you know? These are the things that we need to build. Modern art takes 1,000 words to describe. Good art makes you feel 1,000 words. And that's why I'm saying let's go back to traditionalism, baby. Let's bring back the good art. My name is Roberto Wakerell-Cruz. Tell me what your least favorite piece of art is, or if we left any out. I'm sure there's some in your area that probably drives you mad. Again, from the Post Millennial, have a good day.